Okay, this is Say the Word Suicide, part number 2, The Crisis, by Raquel Lyons, a staff writer. Trigger warning, explicit mention of suicide. So, make sure to ask the person if they have a suicide plan, if they've acted on it, if they have a method, are they going to act on their suicidality now, and so forth. You see, there's a spectrum when it comes to suicidality. On one hand, you have people who have fleeting thoughts about suicide, the people who think, oh hey, I could totally jump in front of this train. Weird. These thoughts can be distressing, but they fly away without further consideration. On the middle ground, you have the people who have a plan to die by suicide with some vague details, and setting it out like 5 months in advance. This may be of medium concern. Suicidality becomes more concerning as you go up on the spectrum. On the high-risk end, you have the people who have a specific plan for their suicide, who have the intentions to act on their plan, and is going to do so immediately, either today or tomorrow. Or it is possible that the person is experiencing more frequent and intense thoughts about suicide with the plan or intent to act on them. These people also fall into the more concerning category. This is a suicidal crisis. It is a medical emergency, and it should be treated as such. A person is at the highest of risk when they attempt to complete their suicide. Of course, there are other factors involved that increase the risk of suicide, such as previous suicide attempts. Suicide attempts are prone to become more dangerous as they continue to happen, a history of trauma or mental health issues, a history of self-harm, previous psychiatric hospitalizations, more risk factors and protective factors, and a few more. For me, in my experience, I think about suicide, I consider suicide, and then I act on a suicidal thought. Considering is higher than just thinking about it. For me, it entails planning the finer details of my suicide. Someone who is at a lower risk for suicide may say they want to hang themselves, for instance. In the same scenario, I could tell you that I wanted to use my laptop cord to hang myself on the 3rd branch of an oak tree. That's a lot more specific. I will be doing that, by the way. This shows how language can be involved when regarding suicidality. I have learned to be very open and very blunt about my chronic suicidality. Part of it is because my OCD has Part of it is because the OCD has jokes, which are often more hilarious than they should be. Part of it came with my secondary. Really, I'm very surprised that I wrote my instead of the. It's a Freudian slip right there. Part of it is because the OCD has jokes, which are often more hilarious than they should be. Part of it came with the secondary depression. Talking about suicide became like talking about the weather. In my dark days, I was so consumed by thoughts of suicide that it lost its meaning and seriousness. Depression, in one way, gave me the ability to be very blunt with how I was feeling. But it also took away my voice. I didn't tell people how I was feeling. And sitting alone in the middle of a suicidal crisis with no one knowing what was going on made it much worse than if I had had a buddy with me to help me trudge through this slime. Know where to get help, either to give to the person who is feeling suicidal or to make use of it yourself. During the hours they are open, the counseling center is available to you. They are located on the 2nd floor of the Quinn building all the way down the hall. There is also Craig Bideman, who you can talk to. If they are not available, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. If the crisis is immediate, i.e. happening right now, you can also dial 911, contact public safety if you're on campus, or bring that person to the nearest emergency room. These are just a few of the resources available to you. If you are ever in a suicidal crisis and are wondering what to do next, before you try to end your life, reach out to someone. Contact our hotline, text a crisis number, read about how other people have stayed alive through suicidality. Find this article, use metanoia.org, just tell someone and be as open and honest as you can. If you've never been to a psychiatric hospital before and are afraid they'll keep you forever, look up all the positive experiences people have had on them on the internet, on YouTube, or read through my series about my experiences with hospitalizations. If you're interested in learning more about what is helpful versus what is not so helpful to say to someone who is going through suicidality, stay tuned for the 3rd installment of this series. Until then, stay safe. 2 more articles and then a bonus article. Just getting them all done today. Screw it. I'm gonna do it.